Question 4. We're using different letters here, but don't let yourself become too confused. We can use whatever letters we want. Typically, when we're talking about functions, we talk about F, but you might also see them in terms of H or G. And here I'm just using T instead of X, so maybe I'm talking about time. So this is something that maybe could represent that parachute problem that we were looking at the other day. So at any time T, this equation is going to represent what that parachuter's height is. So question A says find H at 4. And again, that's just a really fancy way to say evaluate negative 16t squared plus 68t plus 2 when t equals 4. It's just a shorthand way of saying that. So I'm going to take 4, I plug it in for t. So that means I get negative 16 times 4 squared plus 68 times 4 plus 2. So you do want to remember your orders of operation here. Exponents always come first. So I'm going to do 4 squared, and I get negative 16 times 16 plus 68 times 4 plus 2. So take care of your multiplication. Negative 16 times 16 is negative 256. 68 times 4 is 272. And then bring down my plus 2. Now I'm just adding straight through left to right. Negative 256 plus 272, 16 plus 2, 18. Okay. So H at 4, again, means if X is 4 and that's my input, figure out what Y is. And again, we might be thinking in terms of that parachute problem. So maybe this means that at 4 seconds, my parachuter is 18 feet off the ground or something similar. Question B is a little bit more abstract. So I have 2 times H at G. Okay, so my first step here is to, again, just try to figure out what is my actual function telling me. Okay, so what that means, if I look on the middle here, my rule is just this inside part. That extra 2 is just like what we were looking at up front where I said plus 1 here, or on the other one where I subtracted something. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just trying to figure out this part. And the difference here is that I don't have a number here for my input. It's giving me a different variable. So it seems a little bit more confusing, but in reality, it's going to be a little bit easier because I'm not going to have all of this math to simplify. Step 1 is to just figure out that function rule. So what is H at G? And again, very abstract here. All this is telling me to do is to replace T with G. Okay, so maybe T represents time, whereas G represents something else, and I'm just replacing them in my notation. So I'm going to say negative 16G squared plus 68G plus 2. Okay, so then step 2 is to take care of this 2 on the outside. So this really just says take 2 and multiply it by whatever you get when you plug this in. So step 2, I'm going to take 2 and multiply it by my whole piece. So that means everything that's written here, I'm going to multiply by 2. So 2 times, and you're always just multiplying your numbers, 2 times negative 16 is negative 32G squared. 2 times 68 is going to be 136G plus 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, so part B is a very abstract problem. If this is confusing you a little bit, you can join into the Google Meet and I'll explain it to you right now as you're working. You can join me during 7:30 study hall. But keep in mind that our main goal here is to understand ones more like 4A and then everything we did up here in part 3. So if this is causing you a little bit of stress, perfectly okay. That is a very abstract problem. As we move into question 5, some of those also get a little bit abstract, but see if you can answer anything in question 5, and then we're going to walk through the video together.